Please turn to page 217. On this page, what we're going to see is a student worksheet that you could use for your students to write powerful sentences. These could be done whole group, in small groups, as well as for independent work for your students as soon as they understand how to use them. On page 217, you will see two worksheets. These are story opening worksheets. They're the exact same story opening sheets. The only difference is the lines. The lines on the top one are wider and they're for children that are a little younger. So I would say more for your kindergartners or early first graders. When you are approaching mid to late first grade, your lines start getting skinnier, so I've provided a worksheet where the lines are skinnier as well. Both of these finished worksheets are for story openings. Notice on the top of each sheet you're going to see setting, character, action. Setting, character, action. When students are writing a story opening, have them go to these boxes and practice. In other words, I may say, character, who's in your story? And then they would draw a picture. After they say character, then you would say, action, what is your character doing? So now we have another picture of the character's action. So far here we have the bear is dancing on a rock. Now we'll go back and add our setting. When and where is the bear dancing on a rock? So it's happening on a windy day in the woods. So now we have on a windy day in the woods, a bear is dancing on a rock. And then finally we add our fancy words, where we're going to add adjectives in the different boxes above the nouns that are worthy of being described. So in this case, what we did was we looked at, first of all, filling in these boxes, the character. Who or what is the information about? Remember, we're always going back to that subject and predicate type of questioning in order to form a complete sentence. Our character, we want to show the children. Your character is the who or what is the sentence about. Draw your picture, now say it. And that is going to be our noun, which is our subject, kicking off our subject. Who or what is our information about? Our information is about a bear. We're going to go to step 2 and we're going to look at our action. So notice how we're only doing the character and action first. Subject, predicate, put it together, does it make sense? So now we're asking the noun, the bear, what is the bear doing? We're asking the noun, what did the bear do? Now notice I'm saying, what did the bear do, so that I get that past tense. The bear danced on a rock. So now we have our predicate, and we're going to kick that off with the verb. When I'm asking for that predicate, again, I'll repeat, I'm asking with a question so that I get more of a past tense verb. What did the bear do? That's going to get more of a danced. Instead of what is the bear doing, the bear is dancing. That sentence is wordy because it has the word is in it. We want to have a sentence that's more active, as well as we want a sentence that's in the past tense because stories are told in the past tense typically. Character, who is doing the action? The bear. Action, what did the bear do? The bear danced on the rock. Then we went back and added our setting, when and where. So now we're going to our setting. Here's the thing about the setting. Make sure you always have when first, then the where. Why? Because it'll almost always make sense if you have when, where. If you put where, when, it doesn't always make sense. Another thing, so once you have your when, which is when is the story happening, and that when could be weather, time, like early in the morning, late at night, long ago, weather on a windy day, on a blustery day, a rainy day, or a season during the winter, spring, summer, fall. That's our when. When you have your where, you want to have the big setting. Your where needs to be the big location. What location is your bear doing this action? In other words, we don't want to say on a windy day on a rock, a bear is dancing. You want to say the big location because this is the story opening. You are giving your reader the setting, the big setting. So we're saying, on a windy day, out in the woods, a bear danced on a rock. After we have our setting, then we'll go to number 4, and that's where we'll add fancy words, adjectives. And we'll add the adjectives to important parts of the sentence. Go back and say, who or what is important in my sentence? Ooh, the bear is. Is the rock important in the sentence? Not as much. So let's just go back and describe the bear. What kind of bear? So remember what we learned on our who what chart. What kind of bear would be dancing on a rock? We're going to put that what kind of question in our sentence with the dancing on a rock in the contents of the sentence to come up with the best adjective. And then we want to ask, are we going to describe how the bear feels, his personality, or describe what the bear looks like? What does the reader know if the bear is dancing on a rock? What kind of bear would do that? Does it matter if he's a brown bear or a silly bear? Which one matches better? Oh, his personality, a silly bear. So we wrote silly here. Also, you may be brainstorming a few other words. Notice in this box next to it, when I did the verbs, where we said the bear danced on a rock, we had other words as well. Jiggled, jumped up and down. You can brainstorm many different verbs and put them in the box as well. Now we go back and we read the whole sentence. On a windy day, in the woods, the silly bear, or a silly bear, jiggled on a rock. Once we like our sentence, then we go back and we add our punctuation. Here's our comma, here's our period. I would also say that you may want to add the word on and make sure that you have that capital O there. Many times when you're doing this, you may want to color code the capital, the commas, and the periods so that the students see that that pops. Once they add all this information, the when, the where, the character, the action, they go back and add fancy words. They have their capital, their comma, and their period. Then they write it out. And you can also have them, when they finish, color code the capital, color code where the comma goes and the period to make sure that they're checking for that punctuation and capitalization as well. The bottom part of this page, you'll notice another story opening. This one had the skinny lines, and we walked through the same steps. We had who or what is doing the action? The girl. Action, what did the girl do? Notice the past tense. And then we drew a picture of how she was scaling or climbing up a tree to save a kitten. Then we went back, we added our setting. So then we had many years ago, out in a busy neighborhood. Then we had the girl. She climbed up the tree or scaled a tree to save a frightened kitten. After that, we went back and added the adjectives. And then once we did that, we had our capitals. So you may want to write many. Put your comma, put your period. And then when they finish writing, have them go back and trace over the capital, comma, and period with the red to check to make sure that they have their capitalization and punctuation. This activity, again, should be done whole group, in small groups, and once the students understand how to fill out their story opening sheet, then you can staple together many different story opening pages so that they can actually have this as their own booklet to write their own story opening sentences. This is a lovely activity for independent work for students to make their own story sentences. And then what happens is they could actually use this to begin their own stories later on.